being a person into astrology, if you tell that to people, they're gonna be like, ah, bro, this guy,
Yeah,
wow. And
exactly.
then even if it doesn't relate to you, you're still analyzing yourself to see like that's not me. Because you can't always see it, but you
Yeah.
have to have faith that it's still going because that's how life is.
I always tell people I want to give people the feeling I got that other artists gave me. That's really why we're experiencing all this together next to each other simultaneously. It's why we cross paths, and it's why we here right now. What's good? I'm UraelB. This is my first iteration of this podcast series. And this podcast is called Rebirth. In this particular series, I'm having conversations. They're raw, unfiltered. Right now, I'm here with somebody very, very, very dope I met in college. And one of the people I've always looked at is like he's so carefree in himself that there's no way he's not going to like get what he wants out of life. Babatunde, my man Timmy Torch. Let the people know who you are and give yourself a bit of time to share your story with the world.
Hey man, thanks for that introduction. That's like really awesome to hear, Urael. Like you've also been an integral part of my journey as a creative, just because of your work ethic. I learned a lot from you. But just a little bit about myself. My name is Babatunde Awe. Most people call me Baba. But like if you just say, "Hey, Baba," that's me on the street. My artist name is Timmy Torch. You can find me on all DSPs, Spotify, Apple Music. Pick your poison, man. But my title is writer, artist, and all around creative producer. And I really like to make music. Sometimes I write movies, sometimes I write poems. It's just like wherever my life and emotions are taking me.
That's what's up, man. And there's a couple things I want to touch on about your personality and just your interests. But I will start at the beginning. I want to know if you were always a creative at heart, if this is something you've been doing since you were born. What was the early days of Baba like?
So it's crazy. I didn't have like what people would call like a typical childhood. My parents are artists, are were artists. That's how they put food on the table for me. They had a lot of gigs doing what they call it the Nigerian talking drum ensemble, where they taught a whole bunch of dancers Nigerian drums and movements, and we would like perform those all the time, rehearse a lot. And I was part of that. Like I learned how to drum do that and how to dance do that. But the funny part about it is I really hated music at first because it's like one of those things like, whatever your parents are doing, you're like, I'm a rebel. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I'm gonna
yeah,
rebel against that.
yeah.
So there was something like when my dad was trying to put the stick in my hand to do some drumming, I was like, man, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But I just became super grateful at a certain point, especially in my music journey. But how that like progressed is I actually wanted to become a writer. I was writing novels in my notebooks all the time, and I had a journal. Uh, I called it Book of Memories, so pretentious, but I thought it was cool, man. I thought
Nah,
it was
that's
cool as like a
hard.
5 year old. Yeah. But basically, like I would write novels and stuff. Not like big ones. They're like 50 pages in like a school notebook and stuff. And then by sixth grade, I learned like, okay, I really do want to be like a writer, like a playwright, because
Mm.
basically I got into this. I'm a competitive guy. A lot of people don't know that about me. I keep it under wraps, man. But I'm a competitive guy, and basically the teacher chose all these people to write a play, and like I saw all their plays, and I was like, man, I feel like I could write something like more than this, and like that's literally how my journey started. It was super competitive, and playwriting turned into screenwriting when I got into like
Uh-huh.
ninth grade because there's a screenwriting class
Mm-hmm.
and I met a lot of musical artists there, and that's how I started like doing poetry and rapping and stuff. And that's kind of like the history right there, a little bit in short terms.
I feel like you have a well-rounded sense of yourself. You know exactly you listen to your passions and you listen to your callings is what it sounds like. So that's what's up, man. I commend that. Had your parents had your parents not been what they were, like how they were growing up, do you feel like you would have just found what you were going to do anyway, or do you think they were a really strong influence in what you ended up deciding to do?
Hey, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. Like the funny thing is, I have an older sister, and my parents really threw her into like creativity and art when she was born, just because like that's
Mm,
what they were doing. But
mm,
for some reason, my mom, when I was born 10 years later, she was like, he's a little different. Like I want to see like
uh,
what he's up to and stuff. Cause I would be doing like weird puzzles and stuff. So like I feel like there was always a part of me that liked at least storytelling. You know what I
mm,
mean? Like I loved coming back from school and being like, "Yo, mom, this is what happened. This is what this kid's doing. This is what that kid's doing.
mm,
This kid's got this different grade." Like I was always, and honestly, I was exaggerating a lot of stuff because I like stories to be better. So I don't
mm.
know if I would have. I feel like I would have ended up being in a creative field regardless, but
Yeah.
at least in something that involves storytelling. Even like therapy, that's like storytelling in a way.
Mm.
And psychology, it's storytelling. So like that's my passion, I think.
That's what's up. I want you to elaborate on that real quick because I have another question. But with you saying therapy is like storytelling, one, are you currently in therapy? Have you done therapy before? And two, what makes you compare it to storytelling?
I've done therapy probably since 2021. I've been on and off it. I've actually off it right now, but I'm starting again this Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm reshaping my life. It's funny how this podcast is about rebirth. Like I'm
Mm.
reshaping my life where I go to the gym, at least 3 times a week. I really enjoy therapy, but why I think it's comparative to like storytelling is your therapist is no matter who they are, if they're a good one, hopefully, but like no matter who they are, they're gonna be like, what's your history? Which is basically like, what's your story? Like
Mm.
history, his story, her
Yeah.
story. Like it's all about you can't you can't proceed without kind of analyzing the past. Some people say you can, and you probably can. Like there's no general rule, but in terms of like my experience and talking to other people, you have to analyze your past and story so you can start taking control of that story as you move forward.
Bro, that's exactly what my album is about. And that's
Oh,
the
right.
craziest part because before I really started working on it, it was just me telling my story. That's all it was. And when I revisited back in 2023 and I started picking it up again, I started realizing, just me personally at the time, how strong of like a therapeutic thing it was becoming. Before it was just, all right, I'm inspired by Section 80 and all of these other like, storytelling and like our generation albums that I want to make like a Section 90. This is what my album needs to be. It needs to be my story, but relatable enough for other people to feel it too. So started off that way, but picking it back up again, it made me realize that I was in a mode of like I don't even know if it's a word, but I was therapizing myself by taking myself through my own journey and my own story, then realizing that yeah, I was walking backwards to move forward gave me the concepts. It gave me the nostalgia half and then it also gave me the rebirth half because a lot of what I learned in my life is that I personally felt a divide in not just who I am, but what I'm really called to be. And it's not like it's a bad divide. It's just one of those I need to learn how to balance this out kind of divides. And I think part of the powerful thing about life and experiencing it in general is you are constantly going to keep reevaluating yourself or whatever your goals are and whatever your end all be all and motivation in life is. If you do awaken to that point, because I also think that's a level of awakening that a lot of people don't get to. But if you're fortunate to get to, you get to see things for yourself at a different level and it helps you move about the world different. But that's crazy that you feel that way. And I realized as you were saying, like, storytelling and therapy are like one in one, that's literally what I was doing, and it birthed this podcast. It birthed my journey into diving into more psychological wellness and things surrounding like CPTSD and helping myself look at my childhood or my upbringing from a new lens that I couldn't have possibly did while I was going through any of that stuff. So now that I'm able to do it, it helps me see it from a better perspective, and it also helps me see that I was doing what I needed to do at the time to get through it. And I'm currently doing that right now. Like in 10 more years, I'm probably gonna look at this moment right now and be like, there was so much I was dealing with that I could have like had a better handle on, but that was the point. Like I can't see the future. And of course, hindsight is 2020. Like looking back, you know all of the things you could have did. But that's why it's so beautiful to be in the present and realize that every single moment you got a chance to like shape your future, but also reinforce your past and not make it like worthless, you know?
Yes, I love that. And like I really resonated with like therapizing yourself with your art, because the thing about it is like, and you might understand this too, but maybe some people don't, like therapizing yourself is also therapizing others. You're healing the collective unconscious
Mm.
just by like making an impact even on one person. It's like raises it up like 0.001%. That's still a lot. Like
Yeah.
we talk about percentages, like this world is grand, bro. And like you being able to like therapize yourself, it's like, and when someone's listening to it, it's like, wow, I'm not alone. Urael's going
Mhm.
through this too. And like maybe it's different than me, but I feel this before. And it seems like he's found a way how to at least express it, to like analyze it. So maybe I can express it and analyze it, therefore I can overcome it. You know what I mean?
That's exactly it. That's literally it. And I've said this since I listened to Good Not Good Kid, Mad City. Since I listened to Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar, and every time someone asks me why I do music, I always tell people I want to give people the feeling I got that other artists gave me. And To Pimp a Butterfly was that main album that sparked the rebirth and the journey in me to take my life into my own hands, or to find more than what's around me, than just like the things I grew up around. So it's beautiful to know that not only do you create from that standpoint, but I create, and there's so many people that are unlocking, like you said, the collective unconscious to create from that point. That's really why we're experiencing all this together next to each other simultaneously. It's why we cross paths, you know, and it's why we here right now. What's up? It's UraelB, and I want to say thank you for listening to this conversation. If you're enjoying it, please consider purchasing my album that inspired it all, Respect the Real, Volume 2. The full album is available in the link in the description, and there's also a link to stream all the singles. Whichever way you support, I thank you for it. Well, I'm gonna get out the way. Back to the conversation. Another thing I want to ask you, because I noticed recently, and I knew this about you before, but I noticed recently, you've been actually studying astrology, right? Before you were into it, and it was something you integrated in your music. For those who don't know, we have a song out there on Timmy's project, Zodiac, called Aquarius Sun. And this is one of my first songs I done under the guise of like astrology, but I'm not really into astrology as much as I guess I could be, or one would say a lot of other people are. So tell me about your astrological studies and your journey in that, because that's something I feel like I need to get more understanding on.
That's crazy. So like basically I started studying astrology in 2020. Like
Mm.
everyone, when the pandemic happened, everyone got into a different thing. Maybe it was a fitness gym in your house. Maybe you started baking a lot of bread. For me, it was astrology, trying to be like, what's happening? Or like and the thing is, some people with astrology, they want to see like what's happening out in the world. But with me, it was like a real good time, since we all couldn't go outside and stuff, for self-reflection.
Mm.
So it was one of those things where it was kind of embarrassing and awkward to me, because, being a person into astrology, if you tell that to people, they're gonna be like, ah, bro, this guy, wow.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
and then I'm like, bro, but do you even know where your moon at? Nah, I'm joking, I'm joking. But anyway,
Like, what is your 12th house in? You know, it's
yeah,
crazy.
like where the house is at? Where your Chiron at? But it's funny, but it's one of those things that you don't have to believe in astrology. Like you could be a skeptic, but you could read like what it says about you having Mars in Pisces, or the Sun in Aquarius, or the Moon in Scorpio, and you could see if that relates to you. And even if it doesn't relate to you, you're still analyzing yourself to see like that's not me. Like no
Mm.
matter what, you're still analyzing yourself to see like, is this me, or is this not me? Or do I have the potential to be this? Astrology is a validator for me. Like it says I'm a creative. It says I'm intuitive. It says like I'm supposed to be weird. I'm supposed to use my Aquarius skills to bring people together, to create together, to uh, do all that kind of stuff. So it's like it's a validator for me, and it's one of those things that I know since I like to use art to help people. I also use astrology to help people because some people are confused about stuff. Some people have questions, and even if they don't believe it, we can open a conversation based on what I see, and then I could just go from advice from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotta ask you then, because if you're helping people through astrology, I want you to help me out real quick. What do you need from me for you to give me a particular piece of advice or guidance or something that I might need to look at when it comes to on my own journey or the things I'm experiencing right now? Like, what would you need from me?
Well, first I need your birth time, where
Okay.
you like your birth time, where you're
Where I
like
was
where you're
born.
born,
Mm-hmm.
and just the date you were born. And then I
Okay.
could look at the big three. But if people don't understand, it's really not even just the big three. The most important part
Okay.
is you get, if you know your rising sign, every sign has a planet that rules them. So
So
I'm a
give me your
Scorpio.
big three. Use yourself as an example real quick, because
Okay.
this is something that everybody is at some point gonna come across. And I've been in like casual conversations where this comes up, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Whew, okay, what are they gonna say about me now?
Yes.
But what is yours, and I'll give mine just so it's transparent, because we know when people hear this, they're gonna think whatever once we say what it is.
Facts. Like I'm an Aquarius sun, so when people
Right.
ask me, "What's your sign?" I'm gonna be like Aquarius,
Okay.
and then I'm a Scorpio moon and rising. So, um, and the reason the rising sign is so important is because that's like, um, the rising sign is based off what time you were born, because it's based off what like zodiac sign in the east where it was at when what time you were born, and that changes every 2 hours, and that's
Huh.
gonna change your whole like house setup. So
That's crazy.
basically,
Okay.
since I'm a Scorpio rising, I know that my first house is Scorpio. Or like if you're a Virgo rising, you know that their first house is Virgo, and then it just continues the in the order it is. So if I'm a
Okay.
Scorpio rising and that's my first house, my second house is going to be Sagittarius because that comes all after, and
Oh,
then it just
that's how
goes
that
all.
works.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's so it literally is a clock at that point.
It's a clock.
Oh,
It's a
that's
clock.
crazy. I
It's all
never knew
about
that.
cycles. Yeah. So
Okay. And all right, so before we get further into that part, you broke down the big three. The big three say what about you in particular?
so basically, there's the sun, the moon, the rising. Right. The sun sign is kind of like it's like your ambitions, kind of what you go for, the person you want to be. So in pop astrology, that's what they call like when you just read horoscopes in the newspaper.
Yeah.
It's popular astrology because it's more digestible. Like it's not all these lines and circles and all this stuff that you see in the chart. So they're
Right.
like, honestly, let's just boil this down to like sun stuff. But honestly, and that's where everyone goes like, oh, so just because I'm an Aquarius, that means this? But I'm like, no, it means like that's the kind of person you want to be, or these are the qualities you want to you show people to the world because it's where you shine. That's where the sun is. It's where you
Oh,
shine.
okay, okay.
And then the moon sign, um, it's like it's your emotional world and it's your
Mm-hmm.
inner world.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that really grasp your moon sign are going to be like your partner, your family, your best friends. Like it's not something you're just like showcasing all the time because it's the
Okay.
moon sign. It only comes out at night. It only comes out when you're comfortable. Some people have this opinion where for the first 7 years of your life, you're your moon sign.
Hmm.
But then when you turn 7, you start to realize, dang, I get more attention when I do my sun sign stuff. Like moon sign, when I'm my moon sign, people think it's like too much or they don't like it. So I'm gonna repress that down a little bit. And then the sun sign becomes your ego.
That's what I was thinking. The moment you said, okay, you turn 7, your moon gets suppressed and your sun starts to shine brighter. It's kind of like the nighttime is over. Like your true emotional or like primal self is going and hiding, and the sun's coming out. Who you feel the need to be in front of other people, or who you think best fits like the world around you. And at 7 is an age you unlock all of this. That's the real age where you become aware of yourself more so, and you stop living in the
Facts.
primal body, but you're starting to realize that, oh, I can exist. I have an identity, and now you're starting to shape it. That makes so much sense.
Exactly. Like, I'm so glad you said primal, because that's exactly what it is. The moon is super primal. It's super like instinctual, intuitive. When your sun
Mm-hmm.
is way more conscious, like, how am I gonna respond to this situation? How am I gonna
Yeah.
approach the situation?
Mm-hmm.
The rising sign is like your first impressions, and like I said, it sets up the whole chart, so it really makes your birth chart whole and stuff. It's
Okay.
kind of like it's also like how people see your body and how you look and how you relate to people. Like, I'm a Scorpio rising, so when people see me, there's might be some like strong emotions that come up, because Scorpios kind of like trigger stuff in people, whether that be happy stuff or bad stuff. It's just like you're gonna get like a strong emotional reaction somehow from me. Like, I feel like when I enter a room, people are like, there's like a comforting energy that people
Mm-hmm.
get, but it's just like they can feel me kind of. No matter what, you kind of could feel Scorpio rising. They're analyzing stuff. They're analyzing people. They might be quiet and to the side. But, oh, sorry.
I was just gonna ask, is that because it's a rising placement, or is it because of the Scorpio? Like, if it was a Scorpio sun, would it still have the same effect?
No. So like
Mm.
the like the moon, the rising is kind of like instinctual. It's kind of like where you fall back on
It's
a
the
little
energy
bit.
you exude. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
aura. Yeah, it's like your aura basically.
That's interesting. That makes sense. Okay. That's why I was asking if it was like a sun placement, would it come off the same versus, of course, you knowing that it's a rising, that's more like you said, a first impression, like a aura and energy thing. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay.
And then the sun sign, you start to talk to someone, you're like, oh, this is what this person wants to do. Oh, this is how this person comes across. This is this is like what makes this person shine. And then say you become like close, really close friends with someone, that's when you start to unlock the layers from them, right? Like what they've been through and stuff. And that's the moon sign.
So it might, I guess, yeah, that's the thing. If your first impression of the aura and energy you bring with you is the rising, then you have the sun that's like, okay, now that I've interacted with this person, what version of myself should I bring? Should I still be subtle through my rising, or should I bring the conscious like creation or curation of myself through the sun? And then, like you said, once you get comfortable, you allow the moon or the primal and true essence of who you are to like merge the two together. It's like getting the complete version of that person.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
This podcast and audio series was brought to you by Respect the Real, a network where creativity is anchored by authenticity, passion, and pure intentions. If you're enjoying this, please follow UraelB on social media, follow our guests on social media, and drop a comment on this video so we know how much value we're bringing you. And what about the houses? Actually, not even to get too deep into that, because that's probably like super complicated. Tell me about the elements associated with these, and
Okay.
the fact that there's also a planet ruling each of these. Let me know about those.
So yeah, each sign is a certain element. There's water, there's
Mm-hmm.
earth, there's fire, there's air. Fire and water are the emotional signs. Like,
Right.
fire is like, I'm going for this, like I'm spreading this, like I'm initiating this. I'm like, I got the energy. And they have like an inner knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're kind of like the inspiring people. Like, Leo's a fire sign. Like, they're
Yeah.
just like in the spotlight, just shining. And it's funny because the planet that rules them is the sun. But
Mm-hmm.
and then water signs, in terms of their emotions, their emotional side is more reflective,
Mm.
and it's more like about like feeling people's energy, and they're very like empathic. So they could kind of like read emotions really well. So they're
Mm-hmm.
both fire and water are both emotional elements. They just like carry it off different ways.
That makes
And
sense.
then air and earth is more like Air is ideas, it's abstract stuff. You can't touch air, right? It's just like
Yeah.
all this thinking, communication,
Uh-huh.
and stuff like that they're interested in. And earth is very like material, very like you can't touch it. Those are the people who are touching the grass, who
Yeah,
are
tangible.
carpenters building stuff, kind of like what what has earth given me and how can I transmute that into something. Rather, air is like what is floating out here and how can I transmute that into something? You know what I mean?
That makes a lot of sense. So when it comes to each of these being attached to a zodiac and those also having a planet, give me what yours would be in that regard. Just as an example, like you're an Aquarius sun. So what planet and what element is dictating how you carry yourself as an Aquarius sun?
So as an Aquarius sun, it's there's like a lot of interesting stuff to this, but Aquarius is an air sign. And
Yeah.
like I said, air sign is about like thinking, it's about communicating. And opposed to like the other air signs where Gemini kind of likes to like socialize with a lot of people and keep
Mm.
gathering information and then teaching that information to other people. And Libra is like it's all about one-on-one relationships. Like it wants to be like you're how do we build here together? How do we build here? And then
Mm.
when it gets to Aquarius air sign, since its ruling planet is Saturn, and Saturn is a planet of discipline and structure, Aquarius is about what ideas can I do to structure something with people to make the world a better place. Um,
Right.
so what ideas can I have to build structure around people? Um, and that's how can I communicate that to the world? So I feel like I really like bring that to the world in terms of like if I want to like make a music video, it's like how can I get a whole bunch of people together, make a certain structure, and tell an idea or a message to people
Right.
that will help them in a certain
And
way.
and you're pretty much facilitating with that. You're bringing the abstract into something you can facilitate and you can like actually transform it into something. It's not so interpretive at that point. You're trying to take those like thoughts that aren't formed and form them.
Exactly, exactly.
That's cool. And as far as that goes, would you say that there's a connection between what your parents' sign are and how you become, as a child or as you're being raised? Do you think those have an effect on you in those first years of your life?
Definitely, because every sign has a different relationship with each other. Like basically, that's how people kind of built this like, oh, Scorpios and Aquariuses don't get along. Because it's like there's this whole like journey with that because they both have different ways at going at things. So
Uh-huh.
like say like I'm an Aquarius and my mom is a Taurus, and technically those signs aren't supposed to get along because air signs are like they want to think a lot of stuff, but the earth sign wants to be like, no, you can't just be thinking like you got to be doing like you got to be doing. So it's like
Yeah.
they kind of like you kind of learn more earth qualities something from your parents or like whatever they are you're going to learn more from them
Hmm.
because we learn from conflict as people.
Yeah.
So and also your sun sign and moon sign, like your sun sign rules what your dad is and your moon sign rules who your mom is. So like there's
Mm.
also ways to gather from that in your birth chart as well.
You know what's crazy? I used to think the exact same thing, but I never like studied it or tried to find a way to confirm it. But to hear you say that makes a lot of sense. It's like confirming the notion that one of these signs has to do with your parents, like one or the other, or even both.
Exactly. Like there's
Hmm.
you really like I'm not even like an expert astrologer, but the experts will say like you can see everything in there. Maybe I can't like write out your whole life, but like you could like really like get into some interesting
And
details.
the crazy thing is of course astrology itself is a story. Like everything we're talking
Exactly.
about is based off of other phenomenon and mythos and things that we're just starting to call it that because of these other stories. Like the planets are named, what is that, Roman? I think the planets are named after like Roman gods, and yeah, the months are named after certain things, and even with the it was something else I was thinking about. But yeah, the fact that a lot of this is already based on other fiction means that that came from somewhere too. And even that fiction came from somewhere else. So all we're pulling from is the world around us anyway. So there's only a certain amount of things each person can be. And once you put like a certain combination together, you're like, he was born at this time, around this place, and at this on this day. So that means this particular story should like be his Kickstarter or be his starting point. This will be the baseline for how his arc will go. But there's nuances in between that'll change it, of course.
Facts. Based on who your family is, who you encounter.
Yeah.
Are you using the negative versions of your placements, or are you using the positive ones? Because there's positive and negative to everything. Like, it's not like, oh, this is a bad thing, this is a bad thing. It's like, how do you use these tools in your arsenal? And like, what are the archetypes? Because that's what the signs are. They're archetypes. And like you said, that's how it involves story. In story, there's different archetypes, there's different uh, character arcs, different structures, and all that.
What exactly do you think you or anybody can take from understanding this like phenomenon of astrology? Because we described it as a story, and we know it comes from different archetypes and different mythos that already exist. Like, we didn't write it or create it, but humans might have been, downloaded these stories or created them themselves based on their experiences. So what exactly do you think people can learn from it? Is it just about their archetype? Is it about what they can do to navigate their future more clearly? Like, what do you think they should take with it?
It's honestly all of it, but in terms of like storytelling and like personal growth, uh, a really powerful saying we learned in school is like history repeats itself, which is basically saying like there are patterns. So if there are patterns, we can predict what to do when a certain pattern comes up.
Mm-hmm.
People have this phenomenon where like they go like, I keep going through the same problem all my life. I keep going through the same problem, and it's a pattern, and it's it's gonna be different each time. But astrology might be like, damn, this is why I go through this all the time.
Mm.
What? And these are the natural tendencies I do when this pattern comes up. So what if I do something else? Like, what if I do
Yeah.
something different? And then
Yeah.
you're like, it's in patterns, how I consider them too, like in terms of personal development, they're tests. Like, they're like, are
Yeah.
you ready for the next level of your life? Really? Like, really? Like, here's this test I've been giving you since you were 5. Are you going to pass?
Is it really that long? Like, I could have. I don't even know what lesson I was learning at 5 that I might still be needing to learn, other than, like I said earlier, like balancing myself out. But what could you possibly be needing to evaluate and look at that's repeating itself that you can learn over and over again? Like, shouldn't you learn it once or the first couple of times it happens?
You think,
Yeah.
but we're human, and I'm thinking off the fly right here. So this is gonna probably be a bad example. So say you're 5, and you want to share a toy with someone. You share the uh toy with them without like, just like innocently, because you trust the world, and they never give the toy back. So then you're like, there's like this pattern where like you might give people something without like really thinking too deeply about it, and are giving them a lot of your time or energy or your values, when you should at a certain point learn you got to give that to yourself before you can give that to someone else. Like, even to make elaborate on that story, say your mom gives you the toy, you never played with it, but there's this other kid who's like, can I play with this toy? And you're like, oh yeah, sure. And then they run off with the toy. It's gonna be like, dang, like, what is actually mine, and what is this pattern I keep getting into where I keep giving people stuff and I'm caring about all this stuff. Like, what am I doing? Instead of like, bro, take the toy and enjoy it for a little bit. And maybe you'll learn something about that and value yourself. And then you could give them the toy. Maybe then you could trust someone to give them your love or their time like that. I know it's dumb, but you know
No,
what I'm saying?
it made perfect sense. It wasn't dumb because it started making me think about a story of mine that is very similar to that. And I'll tell you after I ask this question, but do you think those particular lessons and the certain things each individual learns is like linked to the archetype of these signs or linked to the archetype of their, astrology chart?
Yes,
So,
definitely.
so give
Like
me an example of an archetype that would be linked to that particular lesson.
that particular lesson, I say Pisces. Like they're
Mm.
like what an archetype of Pisces is surrender or unlimited love or boundless like energies, no boundaries. So they might give the toy and do all this stuff, give love, give time, but where's the boundary for yourself? How
Uh-huh.
are you filling up yourself, Pisces? Like
Mm.
you can't how you can't like people say you can't give people water if your cup isn't full.
Facts.
So you got to learn how to fill your cup before you just start giving that to people because you're at the end of the day you might not even be helping them. Like that,
Yo,
now
that's
this person,
crazy.
like think of the toy. Think of the toy. Like the guy takes the toy, and now he's like, "Oh, I could just take anything I want now." And now he's messing with people. Like it's a
Yo.
whole like.
And I didn't mean to laugh because if anybody's going through that, it's not that I'm laughing at the fact that you're going through it. I'm laughing at how real it is and how like spot on a lot of people's situations are. Because I resonate with the like pouring out too much for other people. So a question I have regarding that is this indicative of just being a Pisces in that archetype, or does it have anything to do with like the Pisces being a water sign and like all water signs might learn this lesson?
It because all the signs get their like personality by like a few different things, by the planet that rules them, by the modality they are they a fixed sign, are they a mutable sign, are they
Uh-huh.
a cardinal sign, and then the element. So that's like three things
Bro,
that like
yeah.
gives the personality.
Okay, so what would the modality of a Pisces be?
They're mutable, and mutable is like it changes. It's okay. It's good with going with the flow and like changing and like being on its toes. A
Mm-hmm.
fixed sign is going to be more like I'm doing this and I'm doing it forever. And, and cardinal signs are like I'm starting things here, I'm starting things there, I'm starting things here,
Hmm.
and they're not really great at finishing as opposed to a fixed sign is going to be finishing it. Like, but they got to
Uh-huh.
learn how to. Fixed signs don't know how to adapt though, so they might be
Uh-huh.
doing the same thing and running into the same wall each time. And it's like, bro, you got to change. You got to change. You can't be
Yo,
doing the same thing.
no, that's
Uh,
accurate. That's accurate. I'm thinking of people who are like this for me, and I'm like, okay, they're fixed, or this person's cardinal. All right, they might be mutable. So that's very accurate. That's interesting. But the story I wanted to tell, which went along with the analogy you gave, which is very similar to what I'm about to say, is I recall I had to be like 10, I think, and this other kid that lived around my block, he was like 15, maybe 16 at the time. So yeah, I was like 9 or 10. And I vividly remember this particular lesson happening at that moment, but it also coming up later where I thought I was making a great deal with this kid. He wanted to trade me certain video games me and my brother had for some of the games he had. And I'm like, okay, I don't really trade games, but I get it. He got a PS2, we got a PS2. Let's like look at what he got and let's look at what he want from us. He wanted like 2 or 3 particular games. And I can't remember what they were, but he was giving us like 15 games. And I'm like, duh, why would I like hold on to these 3 when I could go get 15? And some of these, like, I don't even want. I think I wanted like one of them, but the other 2 that he wanted, I didn't really like play no more. So not only am I 10 and he's like 15, 16, but he's giving me more than what I'm giving him. Everything in my mind said, duh, do this shit. But when I traded the games, 12 of like the 15 games he gave us had no game in the case. And 2 of the games that were in cases didn't work, and only one of the games I got actually worked, and I didn't even want to that fucking game. It was more about the quantity for me. And I realized that I've learned this exact lesson on like things can very well be too good to be true, and things might not be what you see, bro. You see things in a very like not happy go lucky, but in like a very optimistic way. And you're always gonna look at things from a lens of like, I want to see the good in stuff. When somebody else can clearly be trying to get over on you or have bad intentions, but you're trying so hard to see the good in it that you look it over. And that's exactly what happened to me then. It was one of those moments where I'm like, okay, I'm not saying we're finessing him because he's giving us 15 games and he's only getting 3. But if you really look at it, all 3 of the games I gave him worked. He gave me a bunch of stuff that didn't work and knew he was doing that, but still led me to believe that I was getting something of value. And all I wanted to see was the value in it. But I didn't see how he was manipulating me and my little brother. And that's why I'm like, that's crazy that certain lessons like that can carry over with you, because I learned that same lesson like in 2019 when I was first like doing shows and performing. I got finessed out of like $200 thinking, oh, I'm getting to open up for an artist. Like all I got to do is pay $200 and I'll get paid $2,000 after the show. That's one of those like, okay, if you knew what you were getting into, you wouldn't have so like signed up for this shit. But you're so eager and ready to see the good in things or like what your benefit is that you're not even realizing how other people are using that to your advantage, to their advantage, you know? And that's crazy that you talked about those stories and archetypes having like certain things they'll run into in history repeating itself, and you needing to pay attention to that because it's going to shape whatever you think you're going to do in life. You'll always keep running into that, and it's something you'll need to pay attention to. So I wanted to share that story because, like I said, what you were saying to me made sense. The kid giving more and not realizing they're giving and giving and giving, and they're not really receiving, or they don't have anything else to give, but here they are giving. That definitely resonated with me.
Yes, it's like it's crazy how archetypes just repeat all our lives, and I mean, you learn a lot from that lesson. You learn
Yeah.
that quantity isn't exactly quality.
Yeah.
You learn to trust your gut too. You're like, these games are good, but there's 15 of them though. So like
Yeah.
that
Like, why
gotta
are
be
you
like,
giving up so many, you know?
yeah, like your brain knew something was off, but you're like, I ain't gonna trust that gut because I see it right here. So like everything you see isn't what it seems, like you said. Don't trust so easily. Not everyone deserves your trust. Like there's so many lessons to be picked off, and these patterns they just keep repeating in school, in life, in college, in marriage. Like it's just amazing, and there's only so many of them. It's not like every problem that's been had has been experienced before in some way.
Yeah. They say there's
So
nothing new under the sun.
exactly, like AI seems new, but at the end of the day, it's just technology, man. It's like the same as when computers came out.
Very true. Yeah, you're right. It's something that people are shook up by because it just changed just a little bit. You know, it looked different enough for them to feel like, oh, what am I doing? Like, what's going on? But you're right. Everything has happened before, and we're all just repeating these cycles to learn those lessons. That's what I believe too. What's up? It's UraelB, and I want to say thank you for listening to this conversation. If you're enjoying it, please consider purchasing my album that inspired it all, Respect the Real, Volume 2. The full album is available in the link in the description, and there's also a link to stream all the singles. Whichever way you support, I thank you for it. Well, I'm going to get out the way. Back to the conversation. I want to spin into a different portion of the conversation, which this is a perfect segue with. When you're learning lessons and you're living life in a particular way, and you're, you know, day by day, you're just trying to get through each day. These lessons come up in small ways, big ways, but what I've realized is you're constantly reevaluating and reforming and transforming yourself. What do you believe your particular journey has called for you to reshape and rebirth and transform so you can like keep moving forward and you don't feel stuck, or you don't feel like you're in a loop and you're turning your wheels?
There's a lot of stuff. But I feel like one of the biggest things for me is, it's gonna sound like weird, but like me making myself small to make other people feel good isn't helping any of us. Like you think you're making someone feel good, and you and me being like small, it's like I'm okay. Like my brain would be like, I'm okay with being small. I'm okay with not being seen. I'm lying to myself, bro. Like, so what I'm trying to learn now is like I deserve to take up space. I deserve to be big. I deserve to ask for a promotion or to promote my music. I was born for a reason, and I deserve that space. Why am I making myself smaller so someone else can go in there? Like if if I don't make myself big, then what then there's a lesson in me that I'm not giving to someone else. If I'm not giving it, I'm taking it. Like,
That's
you know
crazy.
what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's amazing that you said that because I've never thought about it in that way. I tend to struggle with the same thing, and what you're saying is if you minimize yourself, and it's not to say you're going in rooms to only be of service to other people, but if you minimize yourself going into a room, you automatically cut off the benefits somebody else can get from you showing up as who you are completely or giving all of you and being all of you. They could easily learn or get inspired or have something to take from that, but you're walking in there already belittling yourself and minimizing yourself to fit in per se, or to make sure you don't shake things up, when honestly you might be in the room to do that, or you might be in the room to inspire or give other people a motivation that they really do need. So that's interesting. I never looked at it as like you're taking from other people by belittling yourself. That's crazy, man.
Like, this is a weird example, but in high school and middle school, I was really into anime and stuff. I'm still into anime, but like I was doing the Naruto run. I was I was wearing the anime clothes. I was doing all of that. And like I knew I'd get made fun of sometimes. I knew that, but I'm like, I really like this stuff though. I
Yeah.
like giving that energy. And one time I came back to my high school, and this one kid who was like a few grades below me, when I visited, he came up to me and he was like, dude, I'm so glad you wore those shirts all the time, because I would buy the shirts and waste money because I wouldn't wear them outside because I was afraid people would make fun of me. And like, you don't know who's looking, bro. You always think no one's looking just because they haven't told you. But there's someone observing you. There's someone looking. We look at people all the time and we don't tell them anything, bro. So like,
Yeah, that's true.
imagine all the times we've done that. There's someone else doing that. And like, by the time if you're not giving it all and expressing yourself, like, come on, like you were born for a reason, bro. Give it to us.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. There is something to offer. Like everybody has something to offer. They just need to step into it, believe in it, and also remember it's for you and other people. Like that's the only reason it's available to you, so we can all share and experience that. And one thing I do want to ask, if it's okay with you, what is your concept of death and life? Because I see a lot of what you're talking about and a lot of what we go through on a daily as a constant like dying and rebirthing, like every single day, or in these moments where we're faced with these challenges. There is something to say about like shedding the old, or shedding what's not serving you to transform and become something new, or just remembering that you can be a different version of yourself but still be who you are at the core. So what do you see life and death as when it comes to physically but also mentally and spiritually, and being of an experience? Because you're not just Baba, you're like all of your ancestors, you're all the people who came before you, but right now you're experiencing what you are. So what do you think about that?
Like, in terms of rebirth, like, as you're right. You're always There's something always dying, and there's something always being born at the same time. Like, to give a personal story, like, I consider myself a stoner. I felt like I've been smoking like every day for a long time. And when I started to be like, I can't do this anymore, like I want to pursue things and it's not helping me pursue things, there's a grief that comes that people don't understand, because when something dies, there's grief there. But people don't only consider grief when it's like a physical person dying.
Yeah.
So sometimes a lot of people are processing grief. They don't know it's grief. So
Yeah.
it's like weird to like, it's a weird problem they can't understand because they don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like advice for like rebirthing yourself is like, it's not like when you make a good change, it just feels good. like
That's true. Yeah.
like you gotta let yourself grieve the old version of you. Like you gotta
Mm-hmm.
say bye to that.
Yeah.
Um so in terms of rebirth, that's what I believe in. I don't think a lot about like dying physically, but I do know in the bottom, like in the back of my head, like I want to make a mark. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I get ashamed of that because I'm like, who are you? Like you're just like a trivial dude
Yeah.
in this world. Like, why do
Yeah.
you? Most of us aren't gonna like make a mark, but then I have to like remember we all make marks though. Maybe everyone doesn't see that mark uh physically, but
Mm-hmm.
you are contributing, like I said, to the collective unconscious. When you give someone a compliment, that makes them feel good. Maybe then they give another person a compliment. It like it vibrates through the world. So and so later when like seven compliments down the line, when someone gives you a compliment, like you don't know that that started by someone else making a mark.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
happened.
Mm-hmm.
So like you don't know when you like knock down the dominoes, you don't know where it started. You just know
Mm-hmm.
you got hit by a domino.
Mm.
And you just and it's really about having faith that that domino is still going. It's really because you can't always see it, but you
Yeah.
have to have faith that it's still going because that's how life is. We're impacting things in very small ways, but it's
Mm.
big. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're very right about that. I think that's one of the beautiful things in life and death is you are impacting something, like regardless, like everything has energy. Energy is constantly in motion. And to be honest, energy is the one thing that doesn't die for the sake of like what we're defining the word as. Energy transfers, it moves about space and it continues like morphing so that everything around us keeps going. And when it comes to like death and grief and even just realizing it's not always physical, I've been personally dealing with grief myself just because of the relationships I've had and the like upbringing I've had, and grieving like my connection with my family in certain ways because the actual connection wasn't pure, it wasn't stable, it didn't have a rooted and benevolent kind of like benefit to me. And that was the craziest thing for me, was realizing that that was the case, dealing with it over the course of the past couple years and trying to figure out how to feel about it, but also realizing that life still goes on and I don't want to be stuck in the grief or not acknowledge the grief in a way that helps me move forward. So every single day, I feel like whatever we're going through is a constant process of accepting something, transmuting it and transforming and then giving it a new life with how you've absorbed it and how you learn to move with it. It's one of those crazy things that no one realizes we have the power to do. We're always constantly like creating our own life path with the energy we get from someone else and then we give to other people. So it is good to acknowledge these things, and it's good to realize that you like literally life keeps going, like life moves on. You have to, even if you don't want to, you'll have to push the next domino. You know what I'm saying? You might have got pushed unprovoked, or you knew someone was gonna push you, but energy is what it is. You gotta keep it going. You gotta move it along. This podcast and audio series was brought to you by Respect the Real, a network where creativity is anchored by authenticity, passion, and pure intentions. If you're enjoying this, please follow UraelB on social media, follow our guests on social media, and drop a comment on this video so we know how much value we're bringing you. And the last thing I want to ask you about before we close is your personal domino right now. What do you think you're dealing with and going through that you feel like it took me a minute to realize this, but I had to get here, and now that I'm going through it, the moment I transform and the moment I feel like I've made it, I gotta pass this along to someone else. What are you particularly dealing with at this time that you're rebirthing through?
What I guess I like to to teach people through my social media, through well, like just living in life is that you don't have to believe in yourself or feel great. You just have to do the steps to you just need to take the steps to where you want to go. Like all as I worked myself up in marketing as an associate producer, I went from production assistant to coordinator to associate producer. Every job felt like I can't do that, bro. I can't do that. I'm not
Yeah.
smart enough for that. I'm
Yeah.
not disciplined enough for that. I'm not knowledgeable enough for that. And then a year passes and you're like, and it's still those voices saying that, but you have to look at the logic. Like you said, life keeps moving on. You're like, wait, but I'm doing it. So what are you talking about? And what other things can I do that I said I can't do?
Uh,
What what other things can I give new life to? Like I luckily like sometimes, obviously in the daily grind of work, you get sad, but like I'm so grateful that I was kind of forced to confront insecurities every single day so that I could realize, oh, you can have insecurities and not believe in yourself, but you'll get it done. Like
which
you
is
got to the next
crazy.
level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's so crazy that you can do it anyway. And it makes you feel like, okay, maybe I am tripping in those moments where it comes up. But then it also puts in perspective, like, for a lack of better words, like those insecurities or those particular like self-doubt moments, those are like motivation. Because if you weren't thinking you couldn't do something, you wouldn't be so afraid or so like in such constant need to like run away from that to where you do it. And some people, yeah, they need negative stimuli to get something done, but in your case, not only is the negative stimuli helping you do it, but you look back at it like, I did it anyway. So what if I don't think about it next time? How much more could I do? And how much more value could I bring to myself and other people? And that's beautiful, man. That's something I realized for myself. Like, knowing you're going to doubt yourself, you're going to be your worst critic, and you're going to be the person that above all feels the strongest about what you're doing. And that's why you doubt yourself so hard, because you really care. But once you take time to look at it for what it is and not what you want it to be or not what the world is making it out to be, you do realize that you have everything you need to do it. It's just let time happen. Let, like, the world work itself out and keep putting your, best foot forward towards it. Yeah.
Like you said earlier, like I remember you were just talking about like you being your worst enemy or like being in the way of yourself. And I just resonate with that so much. Like sometimes we are our worst enemy. We're the biggest antagonist in our movie. And we can overcome it if but it all takes timing. Like I hate like seeing social media being like, do it now. Like sometimes you can't do it today, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't do it today. But if the next day you're like, okay, I'm gonna if you want to like learn how to make beats the next day, just open FL Studio, just open
Mm.
Logic. You don't have to do anything except just open that. Then the next day, maybe you watch a tutorial. Maybe you watch 5 seconds of tutorial. But the thing about starting is your brain's gonna be like, bro, 5 seconds. I could watch 5 minutes of this. Or I already have FL Studio open. Let me just do something.
That's
Like
facts.
you can't you it's all about timing and all about like small steps and like getting out of that out of your way and not listening to that thing that anything that's saying like something negative, that's not you.
Mm.
That's not you. And you gotta realize that's that's not true either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's true. And I think that what we can do if we don't do anything else with our lives is, like you said, and I love this analogy, is trust that the dominoes will fall even if you don't see it. That's not just to say you're going to affect someone else, but within your own personal like life. Trust that you make one move that will move the next things, and the rest of it will literally fall in place.
That's facts.
Yeah,
That's what I live by, man.
yeah, I feel that. I want to do one final thing, and this is something I want to use as I want it to be mantric. I want it to be something that we can sit, digest, and meditate with. But when other people listen to this, they also absorb and realize they can take that on too. And I want you to speak life into yourself right now. I want you to rebirth yourself and give yourself a piece of affirmation that whatever you're dealing with right now or whatever you're going through is going to be inevitably a part of your grand like scheme in life. It's going to be a part of the final form of what you're trying to be. So I'll give you an example, and I'll do one right now myself. And this is going to be for myself, but for everybody listening. Urael, you are the best version of yourself at all moments in time. If you're doubting yourself, it's not because you can't do. It's because you're afraid to do. I know what it's like to be afraid, and sometimes fear can feel stronger than love. But at the end of the day, you are love. You're not fear. Fear is something trying to overtake the love that you have, not only for other people, but for yourself. And at the end of the day, you will be all that you set out to be. Be the greatest person you want to be: father, husband, mentor, teacher, friend, and all around creative and superstar that you see yourself as. It's not about when it'll happen. It's not about if it'll happen. It's about why you're doing it. And I know why you're doing it. So I'm affirming right now that you have everything it takes. Don't ever act like you don't. And if you start to feel like you don't, slow down and remember you got it.
Damn, that was beautiful.
Hey, hey.
So I guess for me, like, you know, it's funny you talking about fear because I was gonna say the same thing. But dear Baba, I know you've been afraid your entire life from the playground where people are like jumping off and sliding, and you're like, bro, I'm scared of that. And then just remember that feeling when you go down the slide or go down that roller coaster when you're scared, and just how liberated and how great you feel after something is scary. Like, I'm not saying that you got to climb a mountain or anything. I'm just saying that this fear is just a cone that you can move around, and there's something greater on the other side. A lot of the times you think there's not something good on the other side, or it's not worth it, but you haven't had your best day yet. You haven't had your favorite success yet. You haven't like met all the great people you're gonna meet and do songs with and make a movie with. You haven't met them yet. So just keep going and keep and and no fear, do it anyway. I love you, bro.
Nah, that's powerful, man. I appreciate you for joining this conversation, man. It was great. I know a lot of people are going to take beautiful things from this. I've already taken some. So if you will, shout yourself out. Let people know where they can follow you, keep up with you, or if there's anything you got going on right now that you want people to be aware of.
So my social media on Instagram, I'm Astro Torch or Astro_Torch 18. I might post some astrology content here or there, but really I like to post like poems and songs. If you want to like listen to my discography, um, they're all on Spotify, Apple Music under Timmy Torch. I got a album and a music video coming out in 2026. I really feel like that's going to be a good year for me. So follow my journey, man, because it's going to be awesome. So I don't want you to miss out on that.
For sure. And I'm UraelB, Mr. Craft to a T, and your favorite MC. And I am beautifully honored to be here with Baba, man. Thank you again. I want to make sure that I give you your flowers now because you never know what'll happen. And I'm really glad that you come across my life and we've crossed paths. And I want to make sure that you feel that from me. If I don't ever say it, you heard it right now.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. This was a beautiful experience for me and eye-opening, and I felt super heard, and it was awesome to just have an open conversation between two artists with sometimes battling imposter syndrome. So it's
Yeah,
awesome, and
man.
I hope this helps a lot of people, man.
Yeah, it sure will. We're connected, bro. So everybody listening and watching this, thank you for tuning in. Once again, I'm UraelB. Please download, stream, and share my album, Respect the Real Volume 2, with whoever you come across. And make sure that you remember always to respect the real. And this was the Rebirth podcast. So thank y'all. Hey, it's UraelB, and I want to say thank you again for tuning in to this conversation. Your attention is extremely valuable. So if you took any value from this video, please consider liking, sharing this with someone, and subscribing to this channel. It goes a long way. And stay tuned for more. Check out one of these videos right here.